Good morning, I'm Prarambha, Dahall. Let's begin with the main stories. Wildfires of Palpa, Gulmi or Rakhachi, among other parts of the country, yet to be extinguished. Around 100 houses and animal sheds destroyed as fire spreads to human settlements. National Convention Representatives Council meeting of CPNL underway in Godavari. Reports presented yesterday being discussed in groups. Party aims to establish itself as a decisive political force. Israeli forces killed 14 Palestinians during a raid in the occupied West Bank. An ambulance driver also killed in a separate attack by violent Jewish settlers. Thousands protest across Israel calling for new elections and release of hostages. And Pakistan secured a 7-wicket win over New Zealand in the second 2020 match of the 5-match international series. Third match of the series slated for tonight. Wildfires in several parts of the country have caused massive losses. Blazes have been reported in Gulmi, Palpa, Orgakhachi and Rolpa among other parts. 38 houses and animal sheds were burnt in Isma rural municipality, ward number 2 of Gulmi. With the fire of the community forest spreading to the nearby settlements, 13 houses and 25 animal sheds had caught fire. According to district administration, fire has continued to spread at other parts of Isma rural municipality, while details of the damages are being collected. Fire has also been reported in Chatrakot 1 Hunga of Gulmi. Meanwhile, 20 houses and animal sheds have caught fire in Orgakhachi. Local residents have said that forest fire caused by strong winds have spread to the human settlements. Wildfires have also been reported in more than 30 places of Palpa. According to our correspondent, 10 houses and animal sheds have caught fire. Elsewhere in Lungri rural municipality, ward number 1 Pang of Rolpa, 8 houses and 3 animal sheds were completely destroyed by the wildfire. District Police Office Rolpa has said that clothes and food grains were destroyed in the fire, while a few cattle had also died in the blaze. Several reports are being discussed in groups on the second day of the first meeting of the CPNL General Convention Representative Council. Political report of Party Chairperson KP Sharma Oli, organizational report of General Secretary Shankar Pokhrel and reports of central departments are being discussed at the meeting underway in Godavari, Lalitpur. The council meeting is also to discuss reports of Central Disciplinary Commission Chairperson Keshav Badal, Central Accounts Commission Chairperson Pushpa Raskondel, Central Election Commission Chairperson Bijay Subba and Central Advisory Commission Chair Amrit Kumar Bohra. According to Central Promotions Department Chairperson of the party Rajendra Gautam, CPNL is to strengthen itself through the meeting participated by 2,454 members and establish itself as the decisive national political entity. Each group is to have up to 400 members for the group discussions. More than 200,000 farmers included in the government's agriculture and livestock insurance have been affected because of the government delay in payments of premium grant. Farmers of Chitwan have demanded 80 million rupees in compensation for damages caused by storm. However, insurance companies have expressed reluctance in issuing the amount, saying they have not received grant from the government. Similar is the plight of livestock farmers. More than 25,000 cattle died because of lumpy skin disease within the past 2 years, while farmers suffered a loss of around 100 billion rupees. The livestock insurance that began 11 years ago has failed to incorporate diseases such as bird flu and African swine flu. The government had announced on bearing 80% of the premium insurance burden with a view to promote commercial agriculture. However, the government has not issued payments to the insurance companies for the past 15 months, citing lack of budget. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture has been urging the Ministry of Finance for budget transfer to make the payments to the farmers. The introduction of such an insurance program is commendable at a time when youth have started abandoning the agriculture sector entirely. However, due to feeble implementation of such policies, it has been difficult for the youth to sustain in agriculture. In our public voice segment, we have asked farmers in several provinces if they have taken the agriculture and livestock insurance. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
बाली बीमा गरेका छैनौं पशु बीमा गरेका छौं पशु बीमामा सजिलै छ कम्पनीहरु आउँछन् बीमा गर्दिन्छन्
कम्पनीहरुले बीमा गर्छ त्यो किसानहरुले कति प्रक्रिया पुर्याउन नसकेर झन्झटिलो भएर कति चाहिँ प्राप्त गर्न नसकिरहेको अवस्था चाहिँ छ
कृषि सहकारी संस्था आफैले बिमा गर्छ, आफैले बिमा गरेपछि भुक्तानी पनि उसैले दिने, बिमा पनि त्यही गर्ने भएको हुनाले हामीलाई त्यस्तो झन्झटिलो छैन।
एउटा गाईबस्तुको 1 लाख भन्दा माथि बिमा नगर्ने भन्ने एउटा यो समस्याको विषय यहाँ छ। हामी व्यावसायिक पशुपालन गर्ने किसानलाई अब 1 लाख मात्रै पर्ने गाईको लागि त 1 लाख ठिकै हो। हाम्रा गाईहरू एउटै गाईको 2.5 लाख रुपैयाँ 3 लाख रुपैयाँसम्म पर्ने हुन्छ।
बिमा केहीको पनि गर्न सकेको छैन।
पशु बिमाको बारेमा पनि हामीहरूलाई खासै थाहा छैन।
बिमावाला आउँदैन, अब बिमावाला आएपछि हुन्थ्यो।
बिमाको के हो कसो हो भनेर बुझ्न नै सकेको छैन।
कोही मान्छेहरू यतातिर आएर प्रचार गरेर गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने जनचेतनाहरू धेरै जाग्यो भने त्यसमा गर्ने पक्षमा नै छौँ हामी।
कृषकहरूलाई सहज रूपमा चाहिँ बिमा गर्ने व्यवस्था गराएर अनि क्षतिपूर्ति दिनु परेको अवस्थामा पनि सहज ढङ्गले भुक्तानी दिने परिपाटी बसाल्नु पर्यो।
Preparations for the upcoming by-elections in Ilam Electoral Constituency 2, which is slated for 27th April, has intensified. Political parties have considered the upcoming by-election a matter of prestige as it is to be held in a single electoral constituency. Late Subhash Chandra Nembang of CPNL had won the election in Ilam Electoral Constituency 2 in the year 2022. The by-election is being held as the post has remained vacant in the House of Representatives following the death of Nembang. Meanwhile, political parties have considered it an opportunity to identify public opinion. Nembang had a tight grip in Ilam 2 since 1999, while CPNL is looking to give continuity to that. The party has fielded Nembang's son Suhang as its candidate for the upcoming by-election. Meanwhile, Nepali Congress, that had forged an alliance with CPNL Center during the 2022 general elections and yet had been defeated, is looking to restore its status. Nepali Congress has fielded its previous candidate, Dambar Bahadur Khadka. Nepali Congress, that had decided not to form an electoral alliance from its Mahasamiti meeting, has the pressure of proving its decision to be right. The by-election is equally important for Rashtriya Swatantra Party. The party has fielded Milan Limbu, a former CPNL Center leader. The party that had won the by-elections in Chitwan and Tanahu is looking to challenge traditional political powers and prove that they are the alternative force. Dekendra Singh Thegim, who was actively involved in the protest against the naming of Koshi province, has fielded himself as an independent candidate. All the senior leaders have been currently centered on the by-election in Ilam 2 as they view this as an opportunity to prove that the public is in their favor. It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what should be done to prevent wildlife smuggling? Your options are A, tighten security, B, implementation of laws, and C, initiatives by locals. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the international news. Israeli forces killed 14 Palestinians during a raid in the occupied West Bank on Saturday, while an ambulance driver was killed as he went to pick up wounded from a separate attack by violent Jewish settlers, Palestinian authorities have said. Israeli forces began an extended raid in the early hours of Friday in the Nur Shams area near the flashpoint Palestinian city of Tulkram and were still exchanging fire with armed fighters well into Saturday. Israeli military vehicles, massed and bursts of gunfire were heard, while at least 3 drones were seen hovering above Nur Shams, an area housing refugees and their descendants from the 1948 war that accompanied the creation of the State of Israel. The Tulkarm brigades, which groups forces from numerous Palestinian factions, said its fighters exchanged fire with Israeli forces on Saturday. The West Bank, a kidney-shaped area about 100 km long and 50 km wide that has been at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict since it was seized by Israel in the 1967 Middle East War. On Saturday, Palestinian health authorities said at least 14 Palestinians, 2 of whom were identified by Palestinian sources and officials as a gunman and a 16-year-old boy, were killed during the raid, one of the heaviest casualty totals in the West Bank in months. Another man was killed on Friday. The Israeli military said a number of militants were killed or arrested during the raid and at least 4 soldiers were wounded in exchanges of fire. Thousands of Israeli demonstrators across Israel and Jerusalem took to the streets to call for new elections and demand more action from the government to bring the hostages held in Gaza home in the latest round of protests against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The protests have continued as the war in Gaza moves through its 7th month and amid growing anger over the government's approach to the 133 Israeli hostages still held by the Islamist movement Hamas. Surveys indicate that most Israelis blame Netanyahu for the security failures that led to the devastating attack by Hamas fighters on communities in southern Israel on October 7. Hamas-led gunmen seized 253 people during the attack that killed around 1,200 according to Israeli tallies. Some hostages were freed in a November truce, but efforts to secure another deal appear to have stalled. Netanyahu has pledged to continue the Israeli campaign in Gaza, which local health authorities say has killed more than 34,000 Palestinians until all hostages are brought home and Hamas has been destroyed. Another group of protesters also gathered near Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem on Saturday, demanding that he bring the hostages home as soon as possible. Nepali student Bipin Joshi also remains held hostage in the ongoing conflict. Footage showed a floating crane moving a large piece of supporting steel from the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The debris and wreckage removal will help open an access channel, allowing one-way ship traffic to the port of Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed into the Patapsco River in the early morning of March 26, killing 6 men who were working on the span at the time after the massive container ship lost power and crashed into a support pylon. The bodies of 2 victims are still missing. Replacing the bridge will likely take years, but authorities have opened 2 temporary channels to allow some shallow draft vessels to move around the stricken container vessel. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers said 2 weeks ago that it expected to open a new channel to the port of Baltimore by the end of April. Thousands of people protested in Tenerife, calling for the Spanish island to temporarily limit tourist arrivals to stem a boom in short-term holiday rentals and hotel construction that is driving up housing costs for the local residents. Holding placards reading "People live here and we do not want to see our island die," demonstrators said changes must be made to the tourism industry that accounts for 35% of gross domestic product (GDP) in the Canary Islands archipelago. The organizations say local authorities should temporarily limit visitor numbers to alleviate pressure on the island's environment, infrastructure and housing stock and put curbs on property purchases by foreigners. Among the protesters were 6 people on hunger strike who attended the gathering on wheelchairs. The collective, based in La Laguna, is opposed to a hotel construction project on the beach of La Tahita, south of the island of Tenerife. Saturday was their 10th day on hunger strike. Authorities in the islands are concerned about the impact on locals. A draft law expected to pass this year, toughening the rules on short lets, follows complaints from residents priced out of the housing market. Canary Islands President Fernando Calavio said he felt proud that the region was a leading Spanish tourist destination, but acknowledged that more controls were needed as the sector continues to grow. Foreign visitors to the Canary Islands, an archipelago of 2.2 million people, reached 13.9 million in 2023, 13.1% more than in 2022, according to official data. A bipartisan majority of the U.S. House of Representatives voted in favor of a bill that could effectively ban the TikTok app in the United States of America, part of a package of bills worth $95 billion in aid to key allies around the world. The unusual 4-bill package also includes funds for Ukraine and Israel, security assistance for Taiwan and allies in the Indo-Pacific, and a measure that includes sanctions and the potential transfer of seized Russian assets to Ukraine. The bill imposing the new limits on TikTok was the first of the 4 to pass. Hundreds of enthusiasts marked World Canopy Day in Bangkok as the Thai government moves to ban recreational canopy by the end of 2024. The canopy sector in Thailand could be worth $1.2 billion by next year, according to the estimate by the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. Recreational canopy flourished in Thailand after the country became the first in Asia to fully decriminalize the substance in 2022, but the Thai government is looking to stamp out canopy culture. Medical use will still be permitted. High heels, colorful wigs, and dresses in tow drag races revved up for a unique race in Florida's Key West. Footage shows the racers navigating through a course peppered with tie obstacle paths, even tackling shopping carts in the competition. People gathered around the race to cheer and applaud their local drag racers. The race was part of Key West's 42nd annual Republic Independence celebration. The 10-day festival commemorates the Florida Keys' 1982 mock secession from the United States of America and the establishment of the Republic, a protest against the installation of a U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint at the head of the Florida Keys Overseas Highway, according to Florida Keys News Bureau. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. Wildfires of Palpa, Gulmi and Rakhachi, among other parts of the country, yet to be extinguished. Around 100 houses and animal sheds destroyed as fire spreads to human settlements. National Convention Representatives Council meeting of CPNL underway in Godavari. Reports presented yesterday being discussed in groups. Party aims to establish itself as a decisive political force. Israeli forces killed 14 Palestinians during a raid in the occupied West Bank. An ambulance driver also killed in a separate attack by violent Jewish settlers. Thousands protest across Israel calling for new elections and release of hostages. And Pakistan secured a 7-wicket win over New Zealand in the second 2020 match of the 5-match international series. Third match of the series slated for tonight. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin is at 6 p.m. Thank you for staying with us. Have a beautiful day ahead.